Okay, well, this was processing. The last one was processing. I was just asking Luz something about if she. Oh yeah, if she's going to teach again. And what did you say? And tell me again why you're not teaching right now.
I'm teaching. I'm not teaching right now because I travel too much and I cannot do both things. Because if I want to be a teacher at the moment, I would want to give all my energy for it, and I cannot just teach for 6 months and then leave again for another trip or a journey or anything. I would need time to do that. But when I'm a teacher, I need to be able to tell kids, to help them, to discuss with them, I want to learn more about the world before I can do that. It's for me quite important, actually.
And you said when you are a teacher, there's a lot of things you can't do or something?
Yeah, for me, but that's all. I mean, I love the freedom of a child and the way they behave, and I love that they just so fascinated by the world and everything that is around them. But when they are like 6, 7 year old, they have to put them in a system, and the system is like, you have to learn this and this and this. At 6 you have to learn to read and to write and to do math. And at 7 you have to learn your tables and everything. And this is so standard, and a lot of kids are dropping out of this. And so I always search for ways to, because you have a lot of different systems in Holland, and I learn a lot about different systems, and I always search for ways around the normal system. And actually, it's possible, but I still don't really. I didn't really find the thing that's really compatible with what I want with children.
What age kids were you teaching?
I'm specialized in kids from 4 till 6 year olds because they can do a lot without the system. Till from 4 till 6 they can play and they can do whatever they like, kind of.
When does a parent have to send their kid to school legally? At what age?
4. But
At age 4 they have to be in school?
yeah, but it's still, they can keep them home for like 3 days a week or whatever they want. But it's normal to put kids in school at 4, and at 5 you really have to be there every day.
And when can a teenager stop going to school legally?
When you're 17, then when you're 16 you still have to go like 4 days to school. When you're 17 you must go for 1 day to school, and when you're 18 you don't have to go to school anymore.
And in your high school, where you guys went to high school, what happens if one day you left the house and on the way you decided you didn't want to go to school, so you didn't go to school? What would happen? Would anybody call your parents, or what would happen on that same day or the next day when you went back?
But in the end of the month you had a letter at home which said like, you missed this and this class, but still most of the teachers didn't even care about the presenting the list or anything. So.
Well, it still depends on the school, I think.
Yeah, but
there are some stricter schools, and
it's getting more strict, I guess, at the moment. Yeah.
And this is what scares me, because when I was a kid, even from grade school on to high school, all the way through, I could leave my house, walk around the block, and go someplace else and never go to school, and nothing would happen. My parents didn't even know. They didn't even send a letter home. So I had a lot more freedom than people have today. And I think this is maybe one of the things that kept me a little bit sane, because when I get like trapped in a hostel, for example, like now if they lock the door in South America, they were locking doors from the inside with a key, so I couldn't get out during the night. I feel like a caged animal, really. I like to have my freedom to move around, to get out of something. And now all around the world, it's very common for the school system, like 30 minutes after you're supposed to be there, to call the parents and say your son or daughter's not in school, on the same day, or the next day they have to bring a note in from their parents.
Yeah.
And we didn't have this, and I thought, and people say, well, because we care about the kid, we want to make sure they're okay, or we're looking after them or something. And I think, okay, well, now teenagers all have cell phones, so if I care about my friend, I'm not going to call his parents to make sure he's okay. I'm going to call him.
Yeah, but I think I don't know, because if there's always two sides of the story. I mean, when some kid killed himself and the school didn't call, then it's the fault of the school because they didn't call. You know, it's always, they always blame the party that's you think does wrong. So I don't really know.
So do you think the school should call let's say it's a teenager, let's say 15-year-old, let's say, Should they call him or call the parents if they're concerned about him?
If they're really concerned, they should call him in the first place, of course.
And then if they can't reach him, who would they call next? His friends or his parents, do you think?
I would think his parents, yeah.
What do you think? Robert, is it?
I don't know, it's a hard question. Maybe calls his friends, but if his friends I think his friends will defend him. So they won't even really tell the truth if his friend don't want that.
Well, let's say, for example, let's take a hypothetical case where he just decides he wants to go to the park for a while to chill out. He's an artist, maybe wants to go draw, so he tells his friends, hey, I'm going to go to the park, I'll see you guys like at 3.
Yeah.
So in that case, let's say they called the friends, like, because I'm thinking if I were a school director and I cared about my students, I would first call the guy. If he didn't answer it, I would talk to his friends, and then if the friends trusted me, they weren't afraid to tell the truth, they would probably just tell me the truth. Whether he was at park, that's no big deal. I'd say, okay, thanks. I just want to make sure he's okay, because that's my first concern.
That's really your concern, yeah.
Right, and because my first concern wouldn't be that he's attending school. And what concerns me is school directors and governments seem to put a very, very high priority on attendance rather than actual learning. Because I find in a lot of schools, you can fail or almost fail, get almost barely passing grades in lots of schools. And that's okay. You can still make it the next year, but you barely passed. But you can make perfect grades and not attend and fail the whole year in some schools. Now, could that be possible in Holland, that you could be making perfect grades, but you're skipping school so much, you just go in and take the tests, but you're skipping so much that would it be possible to fail because you're not attending?
I don't think so.
I think it just depends on school. It's really different from school to school, because you don't really have we have a big system in the schools. But if there's still the schools about earning money. They just want to make high statics in all the in the static papers about, this is a good school. The school wants to be good to the public. So sometimes they just think, okay, you can go to the next grade. So in the statics they are a good school. So it depends.
So it looks like everybody's passing, moving up to the next level.
Yeah, sometimes the school just doing that because of that. Yes.
In Holland, you said you can choose the school you want to go to, so you can send your kid across town or any school. Yeah. And then how do the schools decide who gets in? Is there competition sometimes?
They have to let you.
Yes. What if there are too many students that want to go to one school? What if there are too many students that want to go to one school?
Then they have to make a new building, build a new building for them, and hire new teachers. They have to.
But they don't have some kind of a limit. It hasn't been a problem.
No. No, I think they just rebuilt all the schools at the place where we came from, because
there's just enough place, I think.
Yeah, there has to be enough.
Okay. Hang on.